On Valentine's Day, there was a queue outside the store. And it was like an eye-opener for us. And said, wow, look, this business really can grow. We had tremendous volumes coming in. Delivery boy, of course, yeah, how educated is he? He's not going to look at name, surname. He saw the name and he missed that. And there was this gentleman who had written a poem for his wife's birthday. And what she got was a message from another person saying, happy birthday, Hitler. Think of Bhag. Smriti, what's your Bhag? I said, what is Bhag? They're like BHAG, like big, hairy, audacious goal. So no, my Bhag is 1,000 stores and we were in the airport, so I said, let's have an aircraft, which will take flowers from here to, the other countries where Indian diasporas, men entrepreneurs, it's so easy for them. I heard this one guy was going behind this investor, Hare sir, kuch chillar de do na sir. Lockdown, I went and talked to my CA, like, is this what bankruptcy is? I used to hate that word, I used to get scared to look at that word. Let's not become vain, let's not become famous. We don't want to be seen.
Hi Smriti, welcome to Ink Stories. Very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. And I am glad that I'm meeting a person who runs a flower business. Flowers are beautiful. Flowers make you feel so very good. And having an opportunity to meet a person who runs a flower business makes me feel excited. And are you excited about this conversation?
I'm really excited about this. And thank you so much for having me here.
It's a pleasure. So let's start with this flower business. What is this flower business and how is it like? Is it organized, unorganized? Give us a little bit brief on this segment.
So flower business is I should say 90% unorganized even today. And
90%?
90% because it's a very easy business to get into. And natural products, our country produces a lot of lovely flowers, interesting flowers. We are also a very traditional, country. So a lot of traditions, festivals. We use a lot of flowers. So it's a very easy business to get into. You see in the corners, people having these little shops just selling garlands, marigolds. There's business for that as well. You have on the road people putting up, little buckets of just flowers inside it. You have business, out there itself. And every kilometer you'll probably find somebody. So that there is a lot that's happening here, in this space.
Enough and more. A lot of opportunities out there.
Absolutely.
And how did you get into this flower business? What was your calling?
So, I don't know if it was my calling. The flower business, it didn't really call me. I come from a software background.
Okay.
And that was my first love. I worked for a software company for many years. Before that, when I was working with Aptech Computer Education, where I was a lab instructor, that's where I learned how to develop, write code. And over there, my boss Anil, he was very, very friendly and he was very encouraging. And the three of us, who were faculty out in the institute, he said, no, why don't you all start something of your own? And he gave us a little space where we would develop code. So that is where I actually started, thinking that, okay, we can do something on our own. That was my first stint at entrepreneurship. Otherwise, I was very happy as a working professional. Post that...
So you did that for how long?
I was there for about 2 years.
So this was your first stint of entrepreneurship with Aptech?
First stint of entrepreneurship within Aptech.
Within Aptech.
We would be a faculty during the day and we would develop little codes for people and we would enjoy that money in Fox Pro and COBOL and Visual C++ and develop...
Which year are we talking about?
This was... 93, 94.
Okay.
Yeah, 93,
and then
94.
Moving ahead, how was it?
So moving ahead, then I said, okay, software is the space and this is where I want to be. And then I, got into a software firm and I was managing deliveries, development, traveled. And in the meantime, life happens to you, right? I met Samir in engineering college and we got married. And Samir is this creative person. He always wanted to be in advertising. So he started his own advertising business in 99. Okay. So that was the first family business in our family, I think.
Okay.
And post that, since the agency was doing very well, he said, let's start something, different. And why we narrowed down on flowers is, he said, this is the one which is so unorganized. And we realized that the delivery part of the business needed a lot of improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And saying the flowers are so beautiful, but it has to be delivered also nicely. And somebody receiving it should feel really saying, wow, something nice has come to me. So using that as a premise, saying, maybe there's something that we can do. That is why we said, okay, let's start. And Sameer's agency was in Parel at that point of time, and he had a loft. It was like a leaking loft. So he said, okay, let me start over there. So he actually started.
Okay, Sameer started the
Sameer
business.
started
Okay.
it in his agency. I hired one artist and one delivery boy. That's all you need.
Okay.
And studied flowers because we were never really we never gifted flowers to each other, and so we really didn't know the product. And so we did a research for about a year. What flowers come here? What flowers? What are the
What
available?
sells? What's popular?
What sells? What's popular? And that's how we said, okay, let's start. We told our friends, we are making this, and also the product should be different from what you get locally. The arrangement, the visual aspect of it, the the perceived value.
Correct.
So we took particular care of that, and Sameer, because of his creative background, he made sure that the communication is so perfect in terms of the message card, how should the boys go, the uniform, all that was kind of the service part of that business. And we told our friends, 500 rupees worth of flower arrangement, we're giving it to you for 100. Send it to whosoever you want.
Achha.
Send it to your wife, send it to your
So that
colleagues.
was like a marketing campaign?
A 6 month, when we started, just wanted to see. So they said, okay, they lapped it up, and people say, there are, friends who sent it to the client after a meeting, a little small vase with just 2-3 flowers and just a nice little thank you for your meeting. And it worked wonders because people would always keep flowers on their desk.
True.
And we realized that people who received the flowers, who were not known to us, they started calling up on the number, and every card had a number at the back. They started calling back saying, hey, we received flowers from, do you also deliver here? Do you also deliver there? And we realized that we started getting orders from people who we don't even know. And that realization said that, okay, it's time to kind of go, storefront, and let's go retail. And Phoenix, that time the mall culture was picking up, this was
until that time you were only B2B?
No, we were B2C, but operating
without
like a small back office,
okay,
like
back
with 2
office.
people.
Okay.
So we said, okay, let's get onto the storefront. So then again, the agency creativity got into what should be the fascia, how should be the visual display, and all those aspects we took great care. And we opened our first store in Phoenix in 2004. 1st August, yes.
Okay.
That's the time we started, and that kind of opened us to a whole new possibilities.
Achha.
We needed first time we needed a store manager, we needed a person to cater to, along with this. We realized the walk-in started, people started looking at it and just walking in just to understand what is this thing that's come here. And everybody would, pick up a card and go. Orders started flowing in on Valentine's Day. There was a queue outside the store. And it was like an eye-opener for us and said, wow, look, this business really can grow. We had tremendous volumes coming in. But what happened was we were not ready for these volumes. Over a period of 2 years, we realized that when people would walk into the store and order flowers, they would pay cash and, they would pick up the flowers, or they would give an address and saying, yahan pe deliver karna hai. It was very easy for us to manage. When people started calling, saying, what, I'd come to your store, why don't you deliver here, why don't you deliver there? We started getting calls. So one person was busy on, taking orders on the phone, one person was busy catering to walk in. And we realized that the person who was placing orders on the phone, we were not able to collect payments from them. And such single, 500, 300 just went into hundreds. And it went into lakhs, and we were just going, down. And
you're losing money.
We were losing money, left, right, center. Sameer was not able to manage because the store is away from his office. He could not control every day. He would probably go in the evening. My office was in Goregaon. I was not able to do this. I gave an Excel sheet to the manager saying, at least put in data here, because customers come and say, I gave you my address last week only, abhi wapas, why are you asking? So we realized that it was a complete mess. It needed systems, it needed processes. This would not happen. All complaints started flowing in. All the compliments that we had got in that first 2 years converted to complaints. People said, and people were running away. Like people would work close by in those offices because it was like a corporate hub. So people would move offices saying that now I'm not in Lower Parel. So now, so we lost a lot of money.
Oh.
At that time, then, one day Sameer is like, what, this is just not happening. I'm busy with, the advertising business was growing, and, I can't really spend time on this. My software, I was in the software world, and that time I was kind of thinking, there was plan that, should I start something on my own in software? I'd never looked at, taking this up ever at that point of time. And it was that one quick decision on that day when I said, Sameer said, let's just shut it because it's not working. It's better to kind of close it now rather than, dragging it further. And I said, these 3 years, it had seen some spark. We had got appreciation. People from across, like who's who shops in Phoenix, right?
Right.
So we had got, and that malls were kind of picking up. Inorbit Mall had approached us. Airport authority, GVK, airport is getting privatized. Domestic airport, GVK, the commercial officer had seen us there saying, hey, would you like to open? And all these things were just floating around. I said, no, these things are there, right?
So you were seeing the opportunities and the...
I was seeing the opportunities. I said, no, I don't think we should give it up, so soon. And I said, you know what, let me get into it. I'll get into it full time. So overnight, I wrote a mail to my chairman, who was absolutely shocked, saying, from software, you're going to go sell flowers, And so that was the way in which I started. I shifted. I moved in 2007. Of course, 3 to 6 months I was helping the transfer.
So 2007 was a time when you fully got into it 100%.
I fully got into it 100%. And my only focus was get systems in place, get a software to manage the order volume, because that was the reason why which caused that.
So even a simple business that looks from the outside like flowers, without systems it can crash.
It can absolutely crash. Yeah, it was like it can absolutely crash. So that's when I moved. And the first thing is we said, let's separate and create a small hub of a back office for order processing. To take in orders, all the phone orders will come in there. That's the number that we're going to share. Let the outlet, Phoenix outlet or Inorbit Mall outlet that we had also opened, let that become a delivery point, because Inorbit became a delivery point for the Malad and the suburban area. Phoenix was a delivery point for the South Bombay, Bandra and all those things. We also realized that every customer would walk in also wanted to deliver across the city. It was not just Lower Parel. So we realized that we needed to have feet on street. Then they said that we want to deliver in Delhi, Pune, here, there. We said, okay, now we need to figure out how to deliver in Delhi, Pune. So that time, when we opened in airport, we opened in Inorbit, we realized that still, we are not seeing the money. We knew that there's pilferage happening, products perishable. How do you manage this? In spite of having systems. It took me about a year to develop that order management software, which helped us even for B2B, because people would walk in from corporate houses. They would say, you know what, as an HR initiative, we want to send flowers to all the new joinees. If we give you a list, will you be able to manage? We said, this is great. Pre-booked. If there's not a single walking on a rainy day, at least I know that for the month I have these orders. We said, okay, B2B is also something that we can look at, not just B2C.
Right.
So we said, okay, and because of the software, we kind of loaded the data, and every day in the morning we would know what are our deliveries in advance. So it was easy for us to procure based on what we have.
And probably you get your money also in advance in those cases.
No, corporate then we gave them like it's a monthly billing cycle. So that's the benefit you get. So you keep ordering, and then end of the month we raise a bill and you pay.
But you know that your money is safe.
We know that our money is safe. So, and we have a contract with them.
Correct.
So I said, okay, this also works. So HR initiative, then for CRM. Large companies who wanted to maintain relations with their customers, they said, you know what, we have birthdays, anniversaries of our clients, top clients, would you do it? So we got orders in volumes. So it would come in Excel, we would import it into our software, and we had a small little call center team who would kind of engage in deliveries. But it didn't come with a lot of, it came with a lot of trials actually. In software I was used to handling software errors, very easy to debug code, this, that, and all. Here we had problems of human error, and that human error really sometimes would have probably landed me in jail, I think.
Errors like?
Errors like, there was this one customer in Inorbit who said, it was Valentine's Day, and there was somebody who would send flowers to his wife. So we had this thing of anonymous sender. So the gentleman came to our Inorbit outlet, our team took the order, he said I need to send 20 red roses or whatever that was, I don't remember that point of time, and he said it's a surprise. So when it's an anonymous sender, it's a surprise, we don't share the name of the sender and the recipient. So we got a call on our customer care, he's saying that who sent flowers to my wife, I needed to know the name and the number. So we said, sir, it's an anonymous delivery, we cannot really, we cannot share. He said, I'm sorry, you have to share, otherwise we're going to have a divorce and you're responsible for that.
Oh shit.
And we were,
oh shit.
What?
Oh shit.
So this got escalated and we were discussing now, what do we do? Should we share? We said, no, we cannot share the number. So we had to call the sender and say that this is happening. You please manage your own, don't bring us in. He refused to put the phone down. He said, I'm coming. Where is your office? I want to come there. And, it became it escalated, to like nobody.
Quite dramatic.
It was quite dramatic on that day. So this was like one of the, incidents. There's another case where...
a poor humble flower also can create such havoc.
Yeah, because it's so sensitive. These are special occasions,
True.
And if you can't mess up special occasions, your mind can just go. Like for example, imagine if you're very hungry and your food doesn't come or it goes wrong. You know how angry you get, and you kind of yell at the delivery boy, you yell at Swiggy, you yell at them because you're hungry. So those are the emotions that come in when. So with the compliments, when people really appreciate, they love you. We even get a lot of hate because of a delivery that has gone late, or flowers that they felt was not good when it arrived, or in one occasion there was a message card that got flipped.
Oh, exchanged.
It got exchanged. The recipient's name was the same. So delivery boy, of course, yeah, how educated is he? He's not going to look at name, surname. He saw the name and he missed that. And there was this gentleman who had written a poem for his wife's birthday. And what she got was a message from another person saying happy birthday Hitler. And this guy was livid. He called up the call center and he's like, this is just not done. You've spoiled my day. I spent days and this is my own poem I'd written to it. And we were like, looking back now, we were laughing, but at that point of time we were really, so we had to really apologize. And we realized in this business, if you mess up, you really apologize from your heart. Only then it works. Yeah, you own up. And that's the lesson and that's the training we used to give our team. You have to be sensitive. If somebody's yelling and screaming, you need to calm down. So I had to even look at who to put in that in that space. And on Valentine's Day, if somebody's calling for status, somebody with the sweetest voice is on that call. Nobody. I heard one of my team members only telling the customer, "Go to the competitor. I don't care." So you can't say this. Or out of fear that it's going to reach in next 5 minutes, already left long back, when she knows that it's going to take like 1 hour to deliver. I said no. I said own up. If it's taking 1 hour, say we're sorry, it's going to take 1 hour because of whatever reason. But don't say that reaching in 5 minutes and it comes after 2 hours. That's where you mess up, right?
Right.
So that is the
owning up is a very critical part of customer like service.
So
no matter which business it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are like several stories like that, but I won't kind of go there.
I'm sure. Yeah. So how's been the journey post that? 2007, and while we look at it today, so like how's been your journey? Was it all rosy or rocky?
No, it was not rosy at all. Of course, we had our share of being there and having our share of fun and excitement.
I'm sure.
But what happened post that was we wanted to grow, right? We were there, we had the software, and we were like really raring. We were there at the airport, so we got a lot of visibility. Media came to me, women entrepreneurs, so I was like talking to the media, writing articles, and it was getting a lot of publicity. At that point of time, saying, how do we go from 3 stores to 1,000 stores? Let's look at, one of the groups that I was in, our networking group. Then you should think of Bhag. Smriti, what's your Bhag? I said, what is Bhag? They're like, BHAG, like big, hairy, audacious goal. So no, my Bhag is 1,000 stores, and we were in the airport, so I said, let's have an aircraft, which will take flowers from here to, the other countries where Indian diaspora is. And why I thought of that was because that time, I got a call from a couple of people who wanted to open in Dubai.
Okay,
franchisees in London. And that time we had started franchising in India also. In fact, our manager, who was a store manager in Phoenix, she wanted to open her first store. So she was our first franchisee, and we very willingly and happily gave her, because we know that she will look after it like it's her own,
Yes.
The way we have, nurtured it, the way we are so conscious about every customer, making sure that the product reaches on time, and we're sensitive to all that. And so she started the first one in orbit in Vashi. And then we attended a lot of franchise exhibitions and couple of franchisees here and there, so we had visibility. But what happens once you get visibility, friends and family who we had taken money from, they said, "Arey, these guys are doing so well, they have become famous, to give our money back." And we were like, no, we don't have the money to give you back, but we're still growing, right? We need to upgrade the software. I wanted to create this very strong portal. The digital space was growing up that time, and we said, okay, our focus has to be digital. Let's get in orders for India. Let's get in orders for India from outside India also, for people to deliver flowers. Let's give every city, that much business, because we had developed channel partners across the city. Franchisees like Bangalore would deliver from Bangalore, Pune would deliver from Pune. So we had opened in Pune, Ahmedabad, Bangalore at that point of time. And we said, now we need money, because then that pressure started building up. I would get scared to go and meet people. We would not go for, family parties and all, because, those persons saying, "Arey, asked, when are you giving it back?" We said, okay, what do? We need to raise money. How do we raise money? We were looking at SIDBI. Somebody came and said, you can, that time, the funding scene was not.
Which year are we talking about?
This was 2010.
10.
Yeah,
okay.
9-10. 2009-10. At that point of time, there was this company who approached us saying that, hey, we're interested in you, we've seen your stores, and we really want to kind of either buy you out or we want to invest. And this was a listed company in the stock exchange. They were the world's largest producer of roses.
Okay.
They had farms in Ethiopia and the businesses in Holland and Dubai, and we were like,
strategic fit.
They came to us,
Okay.
They want us. And I was on a high. I said, okay, these are the guys we're going to connect with, because taking money from a SIDBI means, we've run this business for so long. We have our limitations in terms of how to grow.
Correct.
And I understood that very early on. I said, you need help.
Yeah,
And
the
take it.
mindset to move from 3 to 1,000 is very different.
It's very different. As I said, okay, we need help from somebody who's done it. We need like that big daddy to kind of
Yes.
take us through.
Yes.
And looking at accounting, looking at those kind of, looking at costs, because my thing was franchising. I would love meeting people, traveling, business, sales, the top line. You needed somebody to look at how to manage the perishable productivity, the cost, the team, because every franchisee, we was giving the artists, we were training the artists,
Okay.
and we were handing them over, because they would then train under how, how to wrap. Even like for us, if a customer wanted, if the budget is even 200 rupees, we say we'll give you the best out of the 200 rupees that you can get. Okay. So terms of creativity and how it should be done. So we would train the artists and we would kind of give them. We also got them trained from the teachers from Sugetsu School of Japan in India. So they would come and they taught them simple techniques of, the senior artists all got trained, and then they would train the junior artists, so that at least that part of business would take care, because I am not creative. I try to, even wrap a single roll. It's tough. It's tough to make that beautiful.
Okay, it's not an easy job.
It's not an easy job at all.
Okay.
It's not an easy job. One thorn pricks you and I'm like, I'm done. I can just look at the beauty of the flower, but I can't really make that floral arrangement. But we have seen the appreciation of people receiving it. So we said, okay, let's look at that aspect. So we said, okay, let's raise money. And when this company came in, we took it straight on. So when we took it straight on, you just go by what appears in the media, right? And you don't really you don't do due diligence. They didn't do due diligence on us. We didn't do due diligence on them. And by that time, we realized that it's difficult to have company-owned stores, because then the manpower, your assets, your flowers, your perishable, you needed somebody full-time sitting there. Only then you see the money. Because it's great margins. Flowers have good
So
margins.
franchisee was the answer.
Franchisee was the answer. And good franchise owners who would look at it like their own, they would really grow the business.
Right.
And we knew that when we franchise, we would not want to have, the money wouldn't come into our books, it would go into the franchise books. We never had that model where first the money comes to the company and then we would kind of give it to the franchise, because we knew that nobody is going to be excited about that. So we said, but consciously we said, okay, but to grow, we will need to do it this way. And that is the premise. We said, let's become a strong web portal. Let's get business. Let's open franchise stores. That's the way we're going to reach 1,000. And we took up this opportunity. They took majority stake in the company because it was a listed company. We gave it willingly. We said equity is the easiest thing for us to give, is what I thought at that point of time. It's the cheapest thing for me. I mean, that's okay. We'll give it because it's in the greater good, in the largest of what will be.
From 3 to 1,000. Agar jana hai to this would be one of the ways.
This would be one of the ways. And they also said that, that discussion happened with me alone, okay, with the investor. And we went ahead with it. And post that, we were happy because we were able to return that initial period of loans that we had taken. Everybody were happy. We were happy. We got a lot of exposure, media news, and whatever happened. Post that, we realized that something is not right. Okay, whatever little money came in from there, we had to still open stores. We had our stores in all the airports. We grew the franchise business. Every store requires about 10 to 12 months to break even.
Okay.
Till that time you need to fund the store, the store needs to be funded. So company owned stores, because of, we had differences in terms of how to grow the business. We wanted to grow the franchise route. They wanted to have company owned stores. So that is where the whole difference. And for us, all the learnings that we had, for so many years, it just went down the drain, because I trusted that, okay, a larger firm, with larger experience in large businesses would have, maybe my understanding was not right. So in spite of knowing, we gave in.
Okay.
And that, I think, was the biggest mistake.
So the alignment in terms of the direction for the company was not there.
Was not there.
So they wanted to take it the company route, and you wanted the franchisee route.
We wanted the franchise. We wanted to figure out the portal, and also the whole interest, the whole premise in which the investment came. Also, I thought, as hindsight,
that's a very important point. For anyone who's listening, to understand, you kind of lap investment up, and then you realize, oh shit, you put your foot in the mouth.
Yes. So we just went by that excitement. Okay, money will come and we will grow, and we will also get strategic advisory.
Right. Because of their scale.
Because of the scale in which that's already.
So
there.
What happened? Moving ahead.
Moving ahead, what happened is 2012. We realized that they also went through their own issue. The investor, and they had to have their own challenges, because of which it kind of affected us.
Okay.
And
snowballed into your operations as well.
Absolutely, it's absolutely connected to our operation, because when funds don't come in and you already have this whole setup, it just becomes a nightmare. Correct. So it just we went into like a really, really deep hole, and it was the most difficult period of, my life, 2012 to 2015.
Okay.
So those
So
3
you were
years,
associated with them for how long?
from 2011 to 2015.
4 years.
4 years, yes,
Okay.
4 years. And we decided to do a buyback.
Okay.
And we said, okay, how do you do a buyback? Because this is just not working. And we had created such a beautiful brand. People appreciate it. We had friends. We had about 39 stores at that point of time in 18 cities. And
Nice.
each store was doing pretty well on its own. But as a whole, it was very difficult for us to manage manpower, money, airport. I used to get scared, driving past the airport, because that Mr. Kapadia and the booming boys would say, Smriti, you've not given the rental for the last 2 months. Because we would move, we had to shift monies in figuring out, the taxes, the newer stores, money would go in for salaries.
Correct, yeah.
And I didn't know what hit me at that point of time. I was in a very, very bad mental space. So I said, how do you kind of come out of this? How do you get out of this? I said, let's get the company back. I started talking to a few people, seed fund, a lot of people helped and advised. I said, you know what, just chuck it, let it go. You create another brand. Somebody said, make another brand called Florista. I'm like, no, I want Florista. That was the one that we had created. That was the one that has got us here. And something, said that it's still, so somebody said, we will invest in you if you get your 100% stake back.
Okay.
So with that, I said, okay, this still has hope. We had corporate businesses that time. The corporate business was really doing well, and that also kind of helped us manage, sustain it a little bit. What happened post that was we bought back the company in 2015.
And was it smooth buying back?
No, it was not smooth at all. It was not smooth at all. Okay.
You had to pay any premium?
I will not get there.
Okay.
Okay, it killed us. We again had to take debt.
Okay.
To buy back.
Oh.
Okay, we had to take debt to buy back. We did a buyback. And now we are sitting here again with debt, with again dreams and restarting back from the drawing board.
Oh.
So we said, let's look at 2015-16. Again, I went running. And it's so exhausting, going and looking for funds. I realized it's not easy. It was not easy for me because I'm not naturally, I can't ask. It's very difficult for me to ask for money. And especially when you've gone through this whole thing. But I still said, okay, let me just go asking. People who said, we will, help you if you get your 100% back. They also said, we want 53%. We will give you, but we want 53%, and once bitten, twice shy. We said, no, we don't want to give majority right now. So we just said, no. And I still went looking, and remember going for these, these funding conferences that keep happening. And I saw, these other entrepreneurs, men entrepreneurs, it's so easy for them. I heard this one guy was going behind this investor. Hurry sir, kuch chillar de do na sir. And in joking manner. And he said, come and meet me. I'm like, shit, I can't go and say chillar de do na sir. And in jest, how do you go and meet people? How do you tell them that, you reached there, you went through this downfall and now you want to kind of go up? So it was very tough for me, those 3 days.
Okay.
3 years. Even post that, we said, we shut down everything. Shut company-owned stores. Let's downsize. We downsized the team from 90 to 40 to 20. And we were there about, 20 people. Said, move the office out. Let's, crunch the entire thing. Just manage and just push. Few angels came in way to just kind of push us. No, okay, Smriti, you want to kind of, for digital marketing, you needed to put money, and you could see 3 times returns coming in. If you put money in SCM, SEO, you get those orders coming. But you need to keep pushing money. You can't stop. Once you stop, then it's a restart again.
Yes.
So there were people who helped us with little monies here, there, and we just pushed. And we said, no, how do you bring this up? It is very, very difficult to bring that up. And then we said, okay, no, this is just not working out. We had to take loans from someone to return to somebody, and we were just doing that because all the people started seeing us. We were in that vicious cycle where people were seeing that we were shutting stores. They said, but we were still pushing through. So that was what was going on when lockdown hit.
Okay. And
we said, okay, now lockdown hit. Now there were suppliers coming to my doorstep saying that just before lockdown, 2018-19, said, Hamara paisa do, this kind of language, and it was just so difficult. And I said, I'm not one of the friends, in fact, who was so-called thought, you realize, right? They said, Smriti, you're not returning the money, and I said, what? Just give me some time. I don't know how to figure this, but I will figure it. This is, this is a 420 case. My friend is saying, take it to the police station. I'm like, come on, I'm not a criminal. I give you, these sort of things just bring your whole energy down.
Right.
So then I'm like, abhi to kya, lockdown. I went and talked to my CA, like, is this what bankruptcy is? I used to hate that word, I used to get scared to look at that word. is this what it is? Is this what it's coming to? And what does it even mean? Should we file for it? Because we have so much to pay, we have nothing to receive. And he said, okay, let's look at restructuring, let's figure. And at that point of time, I was sitting at home one day and I got a call. This was just the day after I went and met the CA saying that, I want to file for bankruptcy, let me know what the process is. And
this is pre-COVID, post-COVID?
This is post-COVID. Post-COVID. And he said, I got a call from Cafe Coffee Day, this gentleman. We had initially done a tie-up with them, for Valentine's Day, where all the Cafe Coffee Day stores had Florista posters. So they took orders for Valentine's Day, and we did across 100 Cafe Coffee Day cafes in Bombay.
Nice.
And so this gentleman called me saying, Smriti, and that time they were also going through their own problems, and they wanted to do something different, innovative. So they said, we were looking at having floral kiosks outside our larger format cafes. And I said, okay. I'm like, one day before, I'm like, tomorrow.
You're thinking to shut down the business.
Cafe, so with nothing in hand, and like, okay. And then I said, okay, then we had an internal discussion, like Sameer and I. And meanwhile, most of our employees had kind of moved on, and I had just 4 people who were still there, just there. We were just paying them half their salaries. And I said, no, is this something that we can look at? And we discussed, brainstormed, thinking if it's outdoor kiosk, then we'll have to develop one kiosk which has got air conditioning, and it should have, it should look also pretty, it should look a little global. But Cafe Coffee Days, all these cafes were in a very nice catchment area. So they said Bombay, Pune, Bangalore, all these 3 cities we will look at. 80 cafes we can look at. We said, okay, let's look at 20. And I said, okay, maybe there is hope here. We ran a campaign saying, let's get a low-cost franchisee. And also our, angel investor, who's also an asset member, Nikunj Javeri, he really helped us. And he kind of pushed in, Smriti, give it a shot. He said, I'll give you, make that kiosk, he said.
Nice.
Couple of lakhs, I'll give you, he said.
Wow.
So, these sort of angels were around.
Okay.
And I said, okay. Then we designed this kiosk, we made this first kiosk. We said, okay, let's relook at this. And I ran a campaign on Facebook for 2,000 rupees, a lead generation campaign saying, start your own branded flower shop in a cafe near you.
Okay.
Under 5 lakhs. And I got 180 leads, from Bombay and neighboring like Pune and these places. And then for 2,000, I'm getting 180 people who are interested.
Right.
Okay, so that means there is scope for something.
There's a lot of
like
opportunity
this.
out
So
there.
that again said, okay, that gave me that idea that, okay, let's push this through. Let's start. We did a pilot in one of the cafes to see how are people really looking at it. We saw a lot of people visit. Not many people bought flowers, because people go to cafes to sit all day and do their work, not to buy flowers. They were not really the audience, the catchment for us. It was the people around. Okay, we could capture people in the buildings, and one person for flowers, and all their special occasions, their home decor, their functions, everything comes through. So we said, okay, this will be good for franchises. And a lot of people have lost jobs during lockdown. So it could be like a restart for them. People wanted to, the inquiries that I spoke to, he said, my nephew, he lost his job and I want to invest for him. And 5 lakhs is a small amount for me. I'll just put it on him. And then, the business will start rolling.
Sure.
So we got a lot of these kind of inquiries. We said, okay, let's start with very small. Let's start with 2 in Powai and here before we go to other cities. And, we started the first kiosk. It took about 4 months to make that kiosk and another 3 months to kind of start. And once we started, and it started well, it was well received and it looked good. It was noticed. And then within 3 months, we got a notice because we realized the land was, Cafe Coffee Day also was on a leased land.
Right.
We were now connected with Cafe Coffee Day. Cafe Coffee Day was part of the societies where they had, these spaces, building societies. And one day the committee suddenly decided that they'll not have kiosks. So they said it had to be raised, it had to be thrown. They said we will get somebody to break it and throw it.
My.
Overnight we had to arrange for it to be removed from there, and we didn't know where to put it because it was a huge 400 kilo kiosk. And we had to kind of break it, and that said, my God, how am I going to open 80 when I can't even manage 2, And, Sujit, at that point of time, there was one of our team members who were also getting calls from the corporate customers saying, have you all started your services again? So 1 or 2 corporates had started. So we had started the flower delivery part of it. And, I said, what, let me just focus on B2B.
Okay.
Let's not get into franchising. Let's not get into B2C. Retail, because it's just too draining. Because there's so many legal issues and other issues that come up with, when having to put it there, put in your efforts and then bring it down. So we just moved that out and just scrapped that whole project. Okay. Saying that let's not be vain again.
The little hope that you thought.
The little hope that I thought was again kind of, it came down, and I said, no, this is not happening.
And then you pivoted towards B2B. completely corporate.
We were already in B2B, but we
But
just focused.
completely.
We said completely 100% B2B. Let's not look at B2C. Let's not become vain. Let's not become famous. We don't want to be seen. And it came to that, we want to be in the background but doing good work. So that way, we started focusing on our existing corporate, saying that, we've started our services, let us know. So slowly and steadily from beginning 2021, we focused on corporate business and also corporate events. We could do decor for events.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of corporate events like the IPL matches in Wankhede Stadium.
Nice.
For Mumbai Indians, we do the decor there.
Nice.
So these were the larger chunks that would come in. And then we
Correct.
said, we'll say yes to everything.
Okay.
I said, I'll just say yes. Any call coming in, can you all do flowers? Can you all not do flowers? Yes. Can you all do cakes? Yes. Can you all just, put your manpower there and, do something for us? Yes. We were saying yes to everything. And all our
As long as it was getting money.
As long as it was getting money. So our whole focus was just we need to have...
Survive for the day.
We need to survive. We just need to survive, come what may. And I think that what changed the whole, it just shifted the whole, my perspective shifted. And we were just taking action. It's just like, you just be present, every day just go there and sit there and figure out, and whatever comes, take it. And that is how we started from 2021. I'm really happy to say that, we are now almost 60%, we've cleared most of our debt from our own
Lovely.
earnings. We don't have to take money from somewhere to give it to somewhere.
Lovely.
We're on an upswing now. We have enough surplus now. We don't need funds, external funding. So we're re-recruiting.
Nice.
We've gone to a little larger space.
Nice.
But we're going one step at a time.
Better,
And
always.
we're very, very excited for the future.
I'm sure.
And B2C, yes, online and B2C, we started with that, and that will always be very close to us, and we
Yeah.
will start it eventually.
Yeah.
But we know that you need a lot of funds to make sure that that's sustainable,
resources
to sustain.
That's a draining business.
That's a draining business. But all these years that we've the visibility that we got is helping us now, because
Right.
people still remember, that pink card, remember you have the pink board. So people who've been in the
Even after
malls
so many
and
years,
after
the
so many
recall is
years,
there.
That helps us in gaining traction and the trust with the customer. So people say perishable product hai, why are you still continuing with this? But then I say like, we are all perishable. Yeah. So enjoy it.
I like the start of the conversation. I told you are a 70th guest.
Yeah.
I have not met anyone with so much of resilience.
Wow.
And male, females included.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
लोगों ने business, if they have kind of struggling, they would have just shut shop, pivoted, done something else. But someone who is stuck to it for like 20 years,
Yeah.
20 years like consistently, nahi, theek hai, मैं करती हूँ. That's amazing. It's so much of power to you. I can't imagine. And unless I wouldn't have met you and heard this conversation, I think it speaks volumes about your tenacity, your resilience. I don't know what other adjectives I could use, but superb.
Thank
So
you.
how many times did you bounce? I think 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I guess four. Yeah, easily 4. But now nothing can affect me. It doesn't hit me
Yeah,
anymore.
now you are in a very good space.
I'm in a very good space, and I don't allow things to kind of even
Yeah.
if things don't come my way, I'm like, it's fine.
Now the mistakes that you've done, you wouldn't repeat that, and how you have to go one step at a time.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
probably you realized cash is king.
Absolutely.
Paisa hai to sab kuch hai.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on that. I mean, that is there.
Lovely. So any advice for anyone who wants to get into the flowers business?
Well, I think don't be vain. It will bring you a lot of visibility. People will love you, but people will hate you also. But accept that as well.
Correct.
And I think keep your eyes on the bottom line. Keep your eyes on what you're actually making at the end of it.
Correct.
all.
That's what matters.
So
I think
that's
that
what matters.
one thing, irrespective of the business that we are running, is very, very critical.
Yes.
The money that you make at the end of the day, the bottom line, which we kind of tend to overlook.
Yeah, because it's very easy to grow fast. The top line, it's very easy to grow. I've realized that. Any business, it's very easy to grow. There's
So any plans of taking funding in the future?
yes, maybe after a year, I'll be ready. I'll be more aware.
Yeah.
And let's see. how it
Great, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm still stuck to the point of your resilience. Yeah, awesome. I mean, see, it's being a woman. I don't want to typecast. I've tried my best in my conversation to, though I do, because the society makes us think like that. Ki, ladies are like it's difficult for them, but we primarily because you've got like my son and my daughter needs my wife first. अगर कुछ हुआ तो they'll mama,
Same.
it's not about dada. Dada is there to provide for resources.
Yes.
So you're having that role, and then you're going through this rigmarole in your mind.
Yes.
It's not easy. Someone just asking you, mera paisa de.
Yeah.
It's shit. Okay? I'm not a criminal, like you said. I'll take you to the police station. So going through all of those is commendable. It's really nice. And any advice you would say to not only with respect to a flowers business, but otherwise anyone who would want to start a business, or anyone who would want to do something which is different from their area of expertise, like you moved from a software business to pick a flowers business. So anything you want to highlight to that, because I think you will have more important things to say.
Yeah, I think it's really okay to ask for help, and it's not everything that you can do on your own. And now it's a very nice space now, because there are so many resources available, networks available that you can go to. Networks like Ascent that we are part of.
Right.
Where you name it and you can seek help. Like, for example, we had an issue with a franchisee. I just spoke to the Ascent core team, and they connected me with one of the legal space in the C category who kind of, consults the Ambanis. But I got half an hour with him.
Wow.
And, it was such a valuable half an hour that I got. And it just gave me so much clarity. And it wouldn't have happened if I was not part of
Ascent. Yeah, I mean, superb Ascent. So every time I speak about Ascent,
it's important to be around such spaces and really not give up. I think there's always at the back of your mind, it will tell you, when it's ready to kind of hang your boots.
Correct.
And I think you just listen to that, that space and
listen to your inner self.
Listen to your inner self. Yeah.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
More power to you, Smriti. I don't think, I'm sure I would have a lot of questions, but I don't want to dilute the conversation, and I would want everyone to leave with this thought of resilience. So moving towards the end of the conversation, I think we've crossed our 30 minutes. Yeah. So like 2 questions generally we have for all our guests. One is to maintain the continuity. We had your reference from Sudhir, our earlier guest. So any names that comes to your mind who could be a guest for us, either from Ascent or outside, that you would want to
So in
share?
fact, you can talk to Mansi Masaria.
Okay.
She runs Just Deliveries into logistics. She's brilliant, and she's just ready for a Series A now. And from where she started to where she is now, I think you should just, I think she'll be very good.
Please do share her name and number. I'll connect with her. Great.
Connect her.
And how was your experience? You told me this is your first podcast. So
I loved it. It was so free flowing, and I think it's a very interesting format. And I'm so glad that.
And it is something that would stay for probably years, at least as long as YouTube is around. It's for your kids and grandchildren and people around.
In fact.
How this lady survived and sustained through a 20-long-year journey, and a lot more to go ahead. Absolutely. Great. Thanks, Smriti. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate you sharing your story. It takes a lot of power to share, because generally people want to talk about the good things, and I'm happy you shared the challenging things, which is important for people to listen to.
True. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.